Hi, good evening. I'm Srikanth. I head operations for Ayur Universe. We are India's largest wellness portal offering preventive wellness, ailment management, online and signature programs in yoga, Ayurveda, naturopathy for global customers since 2016. We currently host more than 300 wellness centers in India and abroad with a large presence in India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. We are planning a global presence in the coming years. So far, customers from more than 65 countries have booked their wellness programs through our portal. We are approved by Department of Tourism Karnataka, Incredible India, and we are a member of Global Wellness Institute, California. Today, we have a webinar in collaboration with Nikki's Nest Ayurveda Ashram, the topic being Women Health, Graceful Aging through Ayurveda. Nikki's Nest is a Kerala government approved Ayurvedic center and it is Green Leaf certified. They have been in the Ayurveda health and wellness tourism close to 25 years. Their special focus is on women wellness. They have 51 rooms across 5 categories with 2 restaurants serving vegetarian and seafood, a sea-facing yoga floor, spacious sun deck by the swimming pool, a beauty parlor, gift corner, and a compact library. They produce their own Ayurveda oils and powders. They own a biogas plant to convert all discarded fruits and vegetables into generate fuel. Nikki's green efforts include water management, rainwater harvest, beach cleaning drive, protecting animals, and enriching the planet. Today, we have 2 elite doctors to take us through the topic. Let me introduce them. We have Dr. Geeta. She holds bachelor's in Ayurvedic Management Sciences. She has more than 31 years of experience in Ayurveda, vast experience in women health and wellness, Panchakarma treatments, and medicine production. She has interest in the areas of stress management, lifestyle disorders, and joint disorders. She also holds a diploma in naturopathy. She is the Associate Medical Superintendent of Nikki's Nest Ayurveda Hospital. We have Dr. Nilima Adarsh. She has got 2 years of experience in Ayurveda. She has interest in the field of cosmetology, medicine manufacture, Panchakarma, yoga, orthopedics, and stress management. She also diploma in yoga therapy. She's a junior physician of Nikki's Nest Ayurveda Hospital. Doctors, welcome to both of you. Now I'm done with the introduction. Let me start with the questions. I have a lot of questions for today. Dr. Geeta, the first question I want to ask you. What are the many transitions a woman can expect through her entire reproduction years of her life and beyond? How is a woman's wellness impacted by these transitions?
That's a good question. So there are 3 transitions in her life. The first one is menarche, that is the first menstruation, and then pregnancy and lactation. So we can include antenatal period and the postnatal period. Then menopause, including the postmenopausal. And all the bodily changes always reflected in the mind. You know, the body and mind are related. And through just look especially Indian culture.
We lost Dr. Geeta. Maybe she has logged in again. So let's wait for her to come. In the meantime, can I ask you a question? Dr. Nilima, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Dr. Nilima, tell me something. Why do you think women dread menopause?
Why women dread menopause? That's a good question. Changes to each transition, to every transition has its own difficulties.
Okay.
everyone has to go through several transitions in their life, and there is nothing to fear or dread with menopause. The reason why women dread menopause is because many hormonal changes and bodily changes happens during menstruation. The hormonal changes includes an increase of progesterone and a decline of estrogen happens in the menopause. It causes mood swings. That is, sometimes you happy or sometimes sad or irritated, and mood swings, sleep disturbances. That is due to the change in these hormones. It's difficult to fall in sleep, and as we all know that estrogen is responsible for to induce natural sleep, and hot flushes, night sweats, and next is vaginal dryness. Because when you are a reproductive woman, your body will produce natural lubricants. But after the menopause, it declines, and you feel the dryness, and it reduces your sexual drive, and also bone density, bone fracture. After menopause, the bone density decreases, and it gets and it's chance to put on you on bone fracture. But these are the ways, these are the hormonal changes, and we can regulate these hormonal disturbances by taking proper food and regimens that help to regulate the hormones. That is, drink plenty of water, take vitamin-rich foods, and also vegetables and fruits high in vitamins can be taken. Thus, we can control the hormone imbalance. And next is the bodily changes. Most of the women have the feeling that they have been robbed of their youth. When she hates it when she suddenly sees wrinkles on her face and she put on weight, she doesn't like the way she sees on the mirror. But there are ways to make this transition a graceful one by taking care of herself starting from the youth. By the time when a woman reaches 30s, she should start taking care of herself, irrespective of whatever problems happens in her life. She has to willfully set a time, whether it is Saturday or Sunday, like 1 hour every week, for a nice head massage, a face massage, and also taking care of her hands and feet, and a monthly self massage, and also an annual detoxification. Of course, that luxury can't be affordable to everyone due to so many reasons. Because of lack of time or children's exams, problems will come up. I want to share some tips for beauty care to make with easily available products at home. For pedicure, you can wash your legs with lukewarm water by adding some salt, lemon, and tribala kashaya, and scrub with tribala kashaya mixed with some milk or rose water, or else you can use green gram with milk, and make a pack with multani mitti mixed with the milk. And for hair care, a warm oil massage or hot oil massage once a week is very good for your hair care. You can use coconut oil, olive oil, or adding some lemon. And if you have any dandruff problems, you can use Ayurveda medicated oils such as Durdura Patradi or Eladi Keram should be used. A monthly henna treatment is also good for your hair care. For face massage, you can use Ayurveda medicated oils such as Kungumadi Thailam, Nalpamaradi Keram, and Eladi Keram can be used. Or otherwise, you can use aloe vera mixed with some honey or curd, papaya, or orange juice. This all can be used. Like that, with this natural beauty care and with less stress, and also you can make some minor exercises like half an hour brisk walking. also practice yoga or meditation under the supervision of an instructor is also very good for your health. So by the time when you reach this menopause, you will be healthier with the healthy lifestyle, and also it is important to develop a hobby. When a woman reaches 40s at the time of menopause, she feels empty. Maybe his husband will be in a peacock position like a manager or something, and grown-up children have to left home for finding their lives or job. At that time, women feel very discarded, very empty, with her bulky body and wrinkles on her face, and no one is there to take care of herself. At that time, women feel very disappointed. Some women, this may lead to suicidal tendencies. So to develop a hobby is very important. And next important thing is to have a set of positive friends. It's good to have a support network around you, and it helps to manage your anxiety, and it make you a positive feedback on you. And also cultivate a healthy relationship with community, friendship, and also with the family members. So with these ways, when you approach menopause, you will be healthier with the healthy lifestyle you are going to practice all these years. So in a nutshell, what I am saying is, on the 30s itself, a woman should start taking care of herself with beauty care, and also with healthy some annual detoxification. And also when she reaches 40, she will be healthier, and also develop a hobby and with a positive set of friends. And when she reaches menopause, she will be too busy to feel sad, and there's nothing to fear or dread with the menopause. That's up to you.
Thank you, doctor. It's a beautiful explanation that you gave. I mean, you said that a woman has to get ready by the age of 36 to face menopause, and some of the things that you mentioned about taking care of herself, beauty, and also to develop a hobby. And I was very shocked to know that sometimes they have suicidal tendencies when they go through this state. I'm like a little shocked on that. I didn't know that. All right. So we still have issues with Dr. Geeta joining us. So let me ask you one more question. Can you tell a little bit more about PCOD and how one can manage PCOD through Ayurveda?
Before explaining the treatment of PCOD, I like to explain what PCOD is.
Yes, that's what I want. Yeah.
PCOD in Ayurveda, PCOD is a lifestyle disorder which is caused due to the excessive intake of junk foods, pastries, and also leading a sedentary lifestyle. Lack of exercise, smoking, emotional problems are all triggering factors for PCOD. Female infertility is one of the most common causes where reproductive aged woman is facing. PCOD is one of the main causes for infertility. PCOD is most commonly seen among adolescent age group, which is characterized by small or multiple cysts in the ovaries. PCOD can occur on both the obese persons and on lean persons. When we look at the Samprapti, that is pathogenesis of the PCOD, the Bija dosha, that is the congenital, the functional and structural abnormalities of the sperm and ovum, causes congenital PCOD in lean patients. And Ahara Vihara Dushti, that is the sedentary lifestyle and the junk foods, causes Agni Dushti, that is improper digestion occurs, and it leads to improper Paga, that is transformation. It produces ama, that is toxins are collected in the body. It aggravates the vata and causes Srodhorodhana. That is, it blocks the channels and causes Kapha Vriddhi. That is, the body mass increases. This is, and that is what I am saying is improper transformation, improper absorption, and improper assimilation leads to PCOD. When we talk about the symptoms of PCOD, it causes anovulation, menstrual irregularities, hormonal disturbances, hirsutism, that is unwanted hairs on the face and neck, and emotional disturbances, and it leads to infertility. When we correlate the symptoms with the tridoshas, that is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, when Vata Dushti occurs under PCOD, it causes scanty menstruation, painful menstruation, and also abdominal distension. If Pitta Dushti occurs on the PCOD, it causes irregular menstruation, emotional disturbances, and angry. And on Kapha Dushti occurs on the PCOD, it causes hirsutism, obesity, clots in the blood, and such symptoms. Now, when we talk about the treatment of PCOD, both the lean and obese patients has different treatment protocols. In Ayurveda, to induce ovulation, that I already said that anovulation is a feature in PCOD. To induce ovulation, Amapajana treatment, that is the removal of the toxins, and Srodhorodhana, that is the channels should be cleared, and Kapha Vata Shamana treatment, the vitiated Kapha and Vata should be cleared. The treatment principles give primary importance to Ahara Vihara, to clear the Ahara and Vihara Dushti. That is, with the proper medicine, with the proper food, the medicine for PCOD doesn't work. So first we ask the patient to switch on to completely avoid carbohydrate rich food, which are oily, excess oily, anxious, and heavy foods, and switch on to fiber rich, light, and easily digestible foods such as maize, vegetables, and fruits, such like. For both obese and lean patients, has to do regular exercise and regular yoga, because I already explained that these two body conditions have the chance to have PCOD. Cycling, jogging, walking, and even swimming are also good options for exercise. Yoga such as Shalabhasana, Surya Namaskara, that is sun salutation, Bhujangasana, and Malsyendrasana, and other backward bending asanas are good for PCOD. These yogasanas help to open the pelvic area and promote relaxation. And another important thing is meditation. I already said that emotional disturbances is being there in the PCOD. So to relieve from this, we can pranayama and meditation will give better results. We move on to Chikitsa, that is Deepana Pajana. That is Deepana means carminative, and Pajana easily digestible. Samshodhana, Samshamana, that is curative and eliminative treatment should be done. For Rasadhatu Shodhana and Rekta Prasadaka treatments are done. And for obese patients, we can use Kapha Medohara Chikitsa. That is true. We have to cut down the medas, the excessive Kapha. So for that, Uddartana, that is powder massage, will give better results. And Abhyanga and Avagaha will give local effects. And also internal medicines such as Varnadi Kashaya, Varadi Kashaya, Chandra Prabhavadi, Gugulu preparations like Kanjanara Gugulu, these all give better results according to the condition of the patient. So this all to the treatment of PCOD. Okay.
Thank you, doctor. It's for me, it's news. You said junk food, sedentary lifestyle can lead to PCOD issues, and it can also cause a lot of emotional disturbances. That it was news to me, and that perhaps leads in a woman not being able to conceive. And you gave a very detailed explanation on the treatment as well. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation. Dr. Geeta is back. So let me just go back and ask this first question. So
okay,
that,
we can continue the transitions. Okay.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
So let us continue with the transitions. Okay.
Sure.
So first we look the status of a woman, especially in Indian culture. They have multiple roles throughout these transitions, like daughter, wife, mother, homemaker, money earner. So all these multiple roles make challenging. And through this transition, how to balance the doshas, that's the main thing. So we can take this transition as a positive way. We know that a woman is blessed with the divine duty of maternity, and we are always enjoying the motherhood. And 3 unique organs, uterus, ovaries, breast, are special for her. Not only this, the female hormones and vagina also, but sometimes this speciality make her risky by the imbalance of the hormones produced by these organs, and also that makes challenges, body and mental and physical challenges. And in the puberty, that is at the age of 10 or 11, the girl feels some certain strange changes in the body, and the onset of sudden bleeding with the cramps, with the nausea, and she has no any idea about the body changing because of the secondary sexual character development, some strange things, acne, and all this make her little anxious about. And the lack of sexual education also make her stress. But it is easily can be handled by the parents, especially with the mother as a woman. And when we come to the pregnancy, the postnatal period is always little bit stressy. Even though we are enjoying the time, okay, but along with that, some anxious about the delivery and morning sickness, sometimes gestational diabetes, some changes in the body, what to do, what not to do. These are the questions in her mind. Sometimes the delivery issues are there, infant issues are there. Sometimes she want to handle all these things alone. So it can make some depressions. Postpartum depressions are now reported very widely. Then when we come to the next turning point, that is menopause. Premenopausal time is the time of, according to Ayurvedic point of view, pitta time. A lot of pitta aggravations like sweating a lot, irregular menstruation, little bit aggressiveness, and hot flashes. All these are because of the pitta, and inflammation of the joints, sometimes urinary incontinency. All these are little bit stress. And next is menopause or postmenopausal time. And this menopausal time and the postmenopausal time, there is a chance of the aggravation of vata. It is the degenerative phase and vata time. In the premenopausal time, the person already have the vata pitta problem like sleep disturbances, mood swings. And when she comes to this next stage, what happened? The situation become more worst. So this the degenerative phase vata time, we have to do something in the previous time also. For example, because of the vata aggravation, the physical and the mental stamina are declining, and she feel loneliness and emptiness. Some negative factors from the home also aggravate this situation. For example, this is the time of losing parents, siblings, sometimes partner, or separation. or it's very difficult to meet the financial crisis. It is not the age to find a job. And these make her more frustrated. And this frustration always make her little bit unnecessary crying without any reason or aggravation, stubbornness. So this is little bit accepted, very difficult to accept. And moreover, after this 60 or 65, it is normal to get wrinklings. But it is very difficult because the body shape is coming down, libido is coming, beauty is declining. All these are very difficult to accept and painful. Moreover, nobody is there to share. So what happened? They are thinking a lot. So overloaded mind sometimes leads to the loss of memory also. It can lead to the dementia and then the pity, Alzheimer's and dementia. So to avoid this, it is not for all. If you are doing something before, definitely you can pass through this. So my suggestion is Ayurveda is the best answer for this. Do some self-care practices and periodical panchakarmas, because periodical panchakarma always help you to be youth, keep the youth. So I think nice to have a family Ayurveda doctor and keep in touch so as to easily you can pass through these turning points. That's my opinion.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Very well explained about the different stages of a woman and what she needs to do. I have a follow-up question based on what Dr. Nilima said earlier. I want Dr. Nilima to respond to this. Dr. Nilima, what is the role of three doshas during these transitions? Because you mentioned about the doshas, so I'm asking these questions.
Before explaining the three doshas, I like to explain what the three doshas are. Three doshas are three doshas, that is Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Doshas are the constitutional factors of the body which maintain its integrity. Vata is composed of space and air elements and is responsible for any sort of movement, regulation, and integration of functions of the body. And Pitta is the component of fire and water. It is responsible for Dahana, Pachana, that is digestion, and Parinama, transformation of the body. Kapha is the element of water and earth. Its function is nutrition, tissue formation, and fluid balance. Before explaining the stages of a woman, the woman's life stages is divided into three stages. That is childhood, reproductive stage or the middle age, and the old age. In the childhood stage, it is the time up to 16 years of age. Here, gender development occurs and also secondary sexual characters develop in a woman's body, in a girl's body. Here, the Kapha is predominant compared to Pitta and Vata. Then move on to the reproductive stage, that is the middle age. It is from the time from 16 to 15 years of age. It is the most reproductive time. It is the most fertile period of a woman's life. And here, dhadus are fully developed in this stage. Dhadus are tissues. And this is also marked by so many transitions in her life. That is antenatal, pregnancy, postnatal, and it's also marked by the perimenopausal stage. Here, Pitta is predominant. Pitta dosha is predominant compared to Vata and Kapha. Then move on to the third stage, that is the old age. From 50 years onwards, we called it as old age. That is, it is marked by the onset of menopause. At this time, general decline of dhadus or tissues are seen. Here, Vata is predominant compared to Kapha and Pitta. And we all know that it is the onset of many comorbidities like hypertension, diabetes mellitus, and many hormone-related changes are occurring from this stage. I like to explain what Prakriti is. Prakriti or constitution of an individual is based on these doshas. It is inherent in one's body from birth to death. As our Acharya says that like poison is present in a snake. Poison is itself is harmful, but it doesn't make any harm to the snake. Just like Prakriti is inherent in our body from birth to death. The state of equilibrium of these doshas, these three doshas, it is called as health. And any disequilibrium happens on these doshas, it is called as ill health or disease. I like to explain some examples for that. That is, I already said that on the reproductive stage, Pitta is predominant. When the person also indulges in taking Pitta predominant foods, that is excessive salt, sour, spicy food, and also reside in a hot environment, at that time Pitta also increases. It leads to hormone disturbances, stress, rashes on the skin, irregular menstruation, and such symptoms occurs. And also in the childhood stage, we know that Kapha is predominant there. And if a person again indulges in taking many sweet food and leading a sedentary lifestyle, Kapha again increases and it leads to obesity and growth like tumors or something, cysts, such things occurs. So in all this transition times, to maintain or to normalize the doshas is very important. For that, proper diets and regimen should be followed. The duty of a physician is to correct the normalcy of the doshas, and also Ayurveda detoxifications are helpful to normalize these doshas. So what I am saying is, in every stages, to maintain this normalcy of the doshas or to make the body health, proper diets and regimen should be followed. Otherwise, it leads to diseases.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima. It's a great explanation. You mentioned about Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata is associated with the space in air. Pitta is fire and water. Kapha is water and air. The three different stages of the woman's life. It's a great explanation. I really liked about what you said. There is poison in the snake, but the snake doesn't die, right? So like that, we also have Prakriti as part of us. Now, we lost a lot of time with Dr. Geeta. I got a lot of questions. I'm going to ask next couple of questions to Dr. Geeta. Dr.
Yes.
Geeta, you mentioned about our hormone imbalance. Can you tell us what is hormone imbalance and why does hormone imbalance create havoc in a woman's life?
Yeah. The hormones are the chemical messengers which accelerate the body functions. Everybody knows that. And the imbalance in up and down or improper functions can lead to the hormone imbalance. And there is a risk, high risk in this transition period. For example, imbalance of female hormones like estrogen, progesterone, follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, make irregular menstruation, can lead to obesity and also can lead to infertility and other metabolic disorders, and sometimes like hypertension, diabetes, all are accompanying with these things. And because the thyroxine or the thyroid hormone and insulin all are interconnected. So the functions of these hormones are always interconnected. So it makes some damages in the women body. And that is a main reason. But in Ayurveda, we are seeing in a different way. But actually, the hormone in Ayurveda, we say it is the function. We are always analyzing with the function because there is no apt word. It is difficult to find a word for hormone in classical Ayurveda. But we can explain as the effect of hormones, like that is compared to the Agni and Dhatu, that is Dhatu Agni. So actually, the function of the Dhatu Agni is the function of hormones. And Dhatu Agni is a new word for you, I think. So Dhatu means just simply you have to think as a cell or tissues. And Agni means energy. Energy means like a fire. And Ayurveda principle is everything is made up of 5 elements. Panchabhuta Siddhantas are there. The air, space, and fire, and water, and earth, the combination is giving all type of materials. But here, the same Agni, inside, we call it as Pitta. All the hormones, all the secretions, all the functions of the endocrine system, digestion, all are coming under the function of Pitta. So we can say fire is the component of Pitta. And not only that, the Pitta is always circulating the body through the medium blood. So actually the hormonal imbalance is the impairment of Dhatu Agni. So hormonal imbalance actually it is not a sudden onset. The manifestation of the hormonal disease, it takes time. So it is easy to find a solution for that. That is the reason we are always advise our clients for the self-screening. Daily spend some time for that. Early morning is the best time to screening about this hormonal imbalance. For example, after waking early morning, sometime go through inside, how is our mind? Is it dull or happy? Any changes in the body, wrinkles or any hair growth or loss as a male pattern? Because it helps to think about some coming of PCOD and like that, or any insulin resistance, or I'm feeling fatigue or something like that. All this screening, especially in the estrogen hormone imbalance, there is a chance of getting breast cancer. So once in a while, check your breast by is there any lump or any discoloration or any oozing through the nipples. You can check yourself. In the same way, fatness test or any vaginal bloody discharges or sudden onset of any menstruation after the menopause, all these things give a clue of future diseases. So it is self-screen is very important for a woman. That always help to increase their self-esteem also and can avoid the future diseases. The hormonal imbalance always connected to the Dhatu Agni impairment. So many medicines we have for that. That is about the hormonal imbalance.
In summary, what you said, it's an impairment of the Dhatu and the Agni. So you said Dhatu means is the tissue or the cell, and Agni is the fire, right? Yeah. And you also mentioned that it is better for a woman to get up early in the morning and spend some time or invest some time to do a self-inspection. I have a follow-up question, Dr. Geeta. You also said that hormone imbalance may lead to obesity. I'm just connecting this to the transitions that a woman goes through. When a woman goes through all these transitions, I guess there also is a tendency of gaining weight. What is Ayurveda's view on this?
Pardon?
Yeah, I said through all these transitions, there is a tendency of gaining weight. What is Ayurveda's view on this?
Okay. So gaining weight, actually, it is not a disease, but it's a sign of diseases. So while seeing this tendency, if we ignore or not managing well, then the body becomes the platform of so many diseases like obesity, that can lead to the PCOD, that can lead to the, again, leads to the insulin resistance, finally diabetic, heart diseases, hypertension, all these things. So before the manifestation of the obesity itself, we can find it through the visual inspection. Whenever the body fat is increasing or accumulating in the body, like the accumulation of the fat, if it is around the hip and thighs, it's the body become like a pear shape. It is the, we know that is the gynoid distribution. And if the fat is accumulated around the abdomen, its appearance of apples, then we say it is android distribution. So by seeing itself, we have to correct. Ayurveda always saying there is no, without any reason, without any cause, the action is not possible. So the Ayurveda always viewed like what are the causes, etiology, what are the etiology causes for this? So Acharya Charaka and Acharya Vakpada all are saying there is two types of causes, exogenic causes. That exogenic causes means the causes from the outside. You can say improper diet and lifestyle. And endogenic causes are the impairment of doshas, then leads to the dhatu impairment and production of pharma. It can obstruct the channels. So further nourishment is not going on. So improper nourishment, dhadus in different level, adipose tissue is coming up like that. So here tooth, and not only that, the Acharya Charaka is also saying it is a bija dosha. Genetical factors are also there. So when we look in the obesity or gaining weight, two factors we have to consider. One is kapha, and second one is medas. So improper growth of adipose tissue as well as the aggravation of the kapha can lead to the gaining weight. So you have to avoid sweet, oily things, fat, cold potency things, milk products, the overeating, sedentary work, and also day sleep. All these are increasing the kapha. And impairment of the Agni, the digestion is not properly going on, resulting the adipose tissues enlargement. So what we have to do here? The management, three types of managements always describing in the Ayurvedic diseases. Like first is Nidana Parivarjanam, cutting the cause. Nidana Parivarjanam actually Chigilsa. So all the things which help to aggravate the Vata, increase the Vata, we have to cut. The second thing is Samshodhana, that is cleansing of the body through Panchakarma. Among these 5 Panchakarmas, that is Vamana, Virechana, Nasya, Vasti, and Ektamoksha, or different types of Vastis. Among these 5, the Vamana and Virechana is the best thing. Cleansing of the body. And external cleansing also explained. Udvartanam, that's a treatment that is a forceful massage on the body with a particular herbal powders. And the indication of the Udvartanam itself saying, Kapaharam Medasa Pravilayam. We need that. We need kapha reduction, at the same time the reduction of adipose tissue. Both we are getting through this Udvartanam. And for this Udvartanam, dry powders we are using, especially Kolagulathadi or Tripaladi, both having these qualities. With the Tishna Guna and hot potency of this herb, it helps to the vilayanatham, loosening of this adipose tissue along with the vilayanatham of the kapha. So when we are doing this, it will concentrate it or run to the koshta, that is the GI tract. From there, we have to push out. And this Udvartana, this forceful application of the herbal powder, have some action on the lipids also. It helps to reduce the lipid. That is the subcutaneous tissue containing the triglycerides. When we are doing this, it becomes converted to the fatty acids, and this fatty acids goes to the liver. From there, it converted to the bile, and on the day of purgation, it comes out. So when we are doing with the pathya, to arrest this gaining weight, the less calorie food you are taking along with the Udvartanam and yoga or exercise, what is happening in the body, the reduction of kapha, and there is no calories, so there is no energies to meet. So we are taking the energy from the fat. That is the reason after 7 days or 14 days of Udvartana, followed by the Virechana, we are feeling some reduction in the body, lightening of the body. That is the result of Udvartana. And moreover, beyond this Samshodhana Kriya, there are some palliative treatment also. Some promising herbs like Triphala, honey, Gugulu preparations, Shilajit, Varanadi decoction, Polathadi decoction. So many medicines we are using according to the condition of the disease and the patient. And all these things reducing the kapha and helps to balance with the proper. So I'm saying proper diet and proper lifestyle. And Ayurveda always saying some advices to implement in our daily life. That is, always should avoid, every person have to avoid Bhojananandara Snana, Bhojananandara Nidra, and Bhojananandara Aushadha. That means bathing just after the meal, sleeping just after the meal, and Aushadha, taking medicine just after the meal. And we are always saying at least there should be a gap between the food and the dinner. Ayurveda always saying at least 100 feet you have to walk. That is the reason Bhojananandara Nidra is not possible. At the same time, they are saying Bhojananandara Aushadha. So the early time, the empty stomach is the best time to take the medicines for the weight reduction. Another very beautiful advice is Bhojyante Pibet Takram. That is, after the meal, you have to take some buttermilk instead of curd. Curd is always making the kapha up. And the buttermilk is good for digestion. It reduces the ama in the body. So it balances the tridoshas. And Vasarante Pibet Payaha. After the whole day, at the end of the day, before going to bed, you can take some milk. If you are a kapha prakriti, kapha person, take out the cream and add some garlic, or you can boost by boiling with the garlic. And then they're saying Nishande Pibet Vai. That means Nishanda means at the end of the night. That is in the early morning. Early morning, in the empty stomach, you can take some warm water. Some people have the habit of using green tea. Okay, green tea is good. So many antioxidants are there. So if you are putting a little bit honey, that is good to reduce the body. These are the advices in Ayurveda. A holistic approach is always along with the Ayurveda treatment, because always the gaining weight makes stress to us, especially in the transition time. That's the thing I have to say.
Thank you, doctor. So what I understood is you have to reduce the effect of kapha and adipose tissue by udvartana, and two more you mentioned about two panchakarma treatments, vamana and virechana. Okay, I have couple of questions from the viewers. I'm going to ask this question to Dr. Nilima, because I think this question came when she was talking about the menopause. Dr. Nilima, the question is from the viewer. She's asking, I am 64 and since my menopause, I always have a cold feet. What can I do to change it? You have to unmute, Dr. Nilima, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
This is because it's a main symptom after menopause. It's because I already said that it is due to the drop of estrogen. The experience called feet and hands is general, and you have to massage with some hot oil or some sesame oil or something. You can before going to sleep, you can massage with some hot oil. And also better to use slippers inside the home. And also maybe due to your you just check your thyroid also, thyroid TSH level also, I think so, because maybe a change in the thyroid hormone also make you the feeling of cold feet and hands. It's common for everyone after menopause having this problem, but you have to check on the TSH level, that is thyroid function test also you have to test. That's my answer.
Thank you, Dr. Nilima. So I'm coming back to Dr. Geeta. There is I have a question, and there is a question related to this question I'm going to ask from a viewer. So let me ask my question first, and then you can answer the other question. Dr. Geeta, can you please share a few tips to manage when a woman enters perimenopause to avoid health imbalances in the years to come?
Yeah. So, to avoid these health issues in perimenopausal time, we have to start some self-care practices from the early mid age, that is from 30s itself.
Okay.
Because perimenopausal time is the time of pitta aggravating time. And the pitta aggravation, I think the doctor already said about the tridoshas in the life of a woman in perimenopausal time, that is pitta, vata, and kapha. So aggravation of vata pitta diseases a lot. And when we come to the menopausal time, it's changed to vata, pitta, and kapha. So that there is the prominence of vata. So we have to do something for these two together. So we have to concentrate on the diet. Without any cause, there is no any result. So first we have to think about what are the things which is increasing the pitta. So like please avoid the hot, spicy, salty food and stress because they are increasing the pitta. And with this difficulty with the diet, what happened when you go to the next time, the acidity is going on, a lot of problems, the metabolic disorders are coming. So avoid this and include, but spices are good. Little spices like cardamom, pepper, ginger, dry ginger, I am saying, and hingu, that is curcuma, all of this good to reduce the ama in the body. So try to include less carbo and more vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, and also enough water. Because vitamin A, you can get it from the leafy vegetables, carrot, spinach, moringa leaves. That helps to fix your sight. And vitamin C, that is very good to work on the stress. So you get it from the yellow and orange vegetables. Fresh vegetables and fruits you have to use. And when we come, then the vitamin E, that always help to hormonal imbalance. So a lot of vitamin E vegetables like soya, sunflower oil, sprouted things you have to put in your diet, nuts, cheese. That helps to balance the hormone and reduces the stress. In the same way, the calcium, magnesium, so many minerals are which help in the metabolic you have to take. So simply, you have to take organic foods, fruits and vegetables you have to put along. And the lifestyle, you can take enough exercise to balance these doshas. Then if you are balancing these doshas, nothing to be worried about the problems in these transition times. Okay. That is the thing we have to do.
Okay. Doctor, there's a question from the viewer. I don't know whether I'm asking the question right. You may want to correct me if I'm making a mistake. The question is, can you comment on adenomyosis, perimenopause, and also impact on vestibular systems?
Yeah. So Ayurvedic point of view, the adenomyosis or it can make a lot of pain during the menstruation. So cramps, menstrual cramps can, this is because of the vata and kapha. So go with the diet and proper exercise. With the good diet, which reducing the kapha property, which reducing the vata property. And that is good. That among the taste, you can reduces sweet, sour, and salt. That will reduces the kapha. And sorry, that will increases the kapha. And so you have to reduce it. At the same time, vata, you have to balance, avoid the stress and proper exercise before you have to start from the puberty itself. Then it will help for the adenomyosis. And in the perimenopausal time, also the same, also we are always said about that proper diet and regulating your daily routines. Perimenopausal time, the hormonal imbalance is the most risky things. So to avoid that, proper exercise and diet, that's the main thing.
Thank you, doctor. So there's one more. Yeah, sorry. Did I interrupt
And
you,
one
doctor?
more, she's asking about the cochlea, the little bit imbalance with the hearing.
Okay.
There also the importance of vata, because the ear is the organ of vata. So whatever, wherever the vata is increasing in the body, there is a chance of getting hearing impaired. So for that pranayama, that is very good. And some head massages, put some herbal oils, keep in contact with an Ayurveda doctor, and so many herbs we had to make these ear problems. So apply the oil on the head. Head massages are good. Karna Purana, it's a treatment in the Ayurveda, which reduces the vata in the ear. And vata reducing food and the exercise. That's the answer for that.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Just one more question I want to ask Dr. Nilima. This is coming from the viewers once again. Dr. Nilima, the question is from one viewer. It says, I am 50 years old and still having regular periods. Is it normal?
Yes, it's normal. Because I generally says that the menopause is up from 15 years onwards. From 15 years onwards, we are expecting in the menopause. For because she is just 50 and maybe 2 or 3 years she will have this regular periods. So up to 55 we can expect the regular periods because physically each one is different. So for a 50-year lady having regular periods is normal because each one is having different body constituents, so it's normal.
Okay, Dr. Nilima. Okay, so I had asked a lot of questions. I mean, coming to the last question, because Dr. Geeta has been there with Nikki's Nest for a long time, I would like her to respond to this question. Dr. Geeta, tell me, what is so special about Nikki's Nest Ayurveda?
So I can say from my experience, I'm here for the last 8 years working, and I'm in this field from since 87, so around 31 years. So what I saw, what I experienced here, we have a lot of women, female clients, and most of them are repeaters. Newcomers are there. Newcomers are always first time in Ayurveda, and all of them are saying they feel secure here. That security, that is the first and prime thing in a institution. So it's they're saying always they feel they're coming back. They're saying they're coming to the India in Indian family like that. So that always we are remembering that word nest. And moreover, we are all most of the employees are also women. So that may be the reason this much hospitality the guests are feeling. And another important reason is this organization is run by 2 women. So all these things make secure for the employees as well as the clients. The second thing is the environmental conscious of the management. We are always seeing the premises free of pollution, especially plastic free. You know, for the Ayurveda treatments, for the detoxification, we need that. We need a lot of prana that we are getting. And another one more important thing is we are always trying to reduce the gap between the patient's expectation and doctor service, so that we are always reduce that gap. Not only it is limited to our consultation that in our clinic, the whole premises, you can feel that. That's also, I think, the ethical involvement of these 2 enthusiastic ladies on the daily basis. So we are safe, we are free of pollution, and also very comfort with that. That's the thing I feel.
Thank you, doctor. So in summary, what you said is it is owned and run by 2 women. Most of the staff are women. Most of the customers who come to your place are women. They feel safe and secure, and that's why you call it the Nikki's Nest. And also, it's eco-friendly and socially aware of what needs to be given back to the society. We had a little bit of technical glitches. Anyway, we managed to close this webinar exactly on time. Dr. Geeta, thank you very much for your time. Dr. Nilima, very you spoke very well, and I really liked your responses. Thank you once again. And we hope to see you with some other topic sometime in future. All right. Thank you so much. And to the viewers, we have one more webinar happening on the Saturday 8th, 5 p.m. The topic is going to be prevention and management of obesity through Ayurveda. And stay tuned, and we will give you more information in a few hours. Thank you so much.